Hello, you're watching Much Ado About Something today, and I'm Donna. Well, we're out here in my garden, and today I have a plant that I literally love, and it's the passion flower plant and the passion fruit that it bears. But this is the thing. This plant is so prolific, I have it growing everywhere. And today I'm out here to cut some of it back, because it does not need to be everywhere. It only needs to be in certain places. So in an effort to control this plant, I'm out here today just trimming some of it back, getting it off of some of these plants that where it doesn't need to be. So join me today when a good thing goes bad in the garden. We have to nip it in the bud and trim it up. Now, it won't hurt this plant at all to trim it back some. I cannot allow it to smother out some of the beautiful plants that I have, and it's just growing all over them. So I'll be getting out here today and taking this back. It most certainly will have to be tamed. Now, it's a really hot day out here today. And this is the kind of thing that I have to do for summer maintenance in my garden. I love this Rudbeckia cherry wine, and I don't want to see this passion flower take it over. So I'm going to get out here and just trim this passion flower back. I honestly love that it's as prolific as it is. I love that it's a good hardy plant and that it produces good fruit. And that's why I have it in my garden. But in the same respect, I can't have it just taking over everything that I have. So it's a little more work to have this in my garden, but to me, it's worth it. Now, at this time of the year, it's just loaded with fruits. And I want to harvest some of these fruits, so if some of them fall off while I'm trimming back, then I'll certainly be saving some of that. Here's an example of it growing all through this tree. And of course, I do not want it to do that. Now it's out here on a really hot day, a hot summer July day. So it's okay that I have quite a bit of this because, you know, it provides an amount of shade within the garden, some of these vines. But when it becomes a problem when it starts hanging on to the other plants and dragging them down. That's what I don't want to happen. And so I'm cutting it away from these other plants. And there's quite a bit of work to be done with that out here today. That's the job I'll be tackling. Well, it's another day and I'm out here. This is what I've got cut down out of this middle garden so far. And it's looking a little worse the wear for me. I've been out here chopping this passion flower back. But I am getting it a bit under control. This little Rudbeckia cherry brandy can now stand up straight and not be surrounded by this passion flower. But this one here is, this side here I still have to cut back. I'm finding it's a bigger task than I had allotted time for that day. This is the pile that I've got up from this. This is the pile of passion flower vine that was just overtaken right in here. So I've got half of the garden pulled and weeded through with this passion flower, and now I have to do the other half. And get some of that vine out where that's growing where it's not wanted. I have really struggled with trying to get out here in the garden as much as I want to. It was trash pickup day and I had to come out here and get the trash can. And while on the way to get the trash can, I had to come back by this area where I've been working. And I did not want to go back in. I just wanted to stay out here and work on this garden today. I'm having a real struggle getting all my indoor chores done and staying in the garden as much as I want to. I would just stay out here all the time from sun up to sundown. But that's not feasible. I can't do that. It's canning season. If you've been watching some of my past videos, then you saw the squash relish, how to make squash relish video, and how to make blackberry jam. So you know that me and Donald's been picking blackberries and we've been picking our little garden. And I've been taking all those things inside and getting those canned up, so we'll have them in the coming months. And when it does turn winter and gets cold, we'll have all that good summer produce put up to enjoy then. So there's a lot of work to be done inside. And during that, in the same regard, I have my 6 little grandchildren that I've been keeping, and some days I have all 6 of them. And of course, when you have 6 children that are happy to be at Grammy's, you've got to spend time loving them and tickling them and feeding them and making sure they're not hurt and making sure they're clean. We've used a lot of comfrey salve this week on little scratches and bumps and nicks. So I've been spending a lot of time with my grandchildren because it's summer and I want to enjoy them while they're out of school. Some of them, all but one, will be going to school this year. And so I'm spending the time that I have with them. I'll still be able to keep them when they go to school. I keep some of them in the afternoons, you know, in the evening. So I will be able to enjoy them, but I won't have the summer days like we're having now. And you know, they like to get out in their little swimming pool and they like to get out and help Grammy. And whenever you have little helpers like that, it takes you twice as much time to get anything done. Maybe more than twice as much time, but it's well worth it. You're teaching them, I'm teaching my grandchildren as they see Grammy do these things, and it's a good opportunity to get outside and spend time with them and just enjoy them. And so that takes a lot of precious time, and that's what we should be doing. That's what I should be doing. And so I'm focusing on that, and I've had to, just rely on my discipline to get me in out of this garden and get in there and doing the things that I need to be doing. Me and Donald strung and snapped green beans last night, so I'll have to can some green beans, and that takes quite a while because those need to be pressure canned. Plus, you got to cook all the meals. I'm cooking all these meals in between here, so my gardening time is limited, even though I would like to do it more. But it has taken me more than a day to get this project underway of cutting back some of this passion flower and getting it off of this little little tree that we got in here, and getting it off of some of these other plants so that they can just grow and flourish. I did cut back the daylilies, the ones that were here. They had stopped blooming, so it was time to give them a trim back. I got this rudbeckia, I got the passion vine cleaned out in between it, and I'll still have to work on this one right here today when I can. I got all of this cleaned out, and this white echinacea is looking better for not being swamped with a passion flower vine. It's growing up here, and some of it's worse for wear where I nicked into it while I was pulling. I got a 5-gallon bucket of fruits off of this vine that I cut back. There's plenty still laying out here in the garden, and I'll be using some of those in my canning to add natural pectin, and their juice is just a good flavor juice that you can mix with a lot of other berries and things. So I add those to some of the things I make when I'm canning. But I am by any means finished with getting this passion flower trained back. It's a lot of it growing here on the elderberry over here on this other side that I have to tackle today. But I'm confident that I'll be able to get that done today, and that this will get back on track and start looking better. I can get this swept up and raked up and everything standing where it needs to be, and I can start thinking about the fall garden. Yes, we're in the middle of dog days. We're in the middle of the summer hot days right now. I mean, it's really heating up. But there are the next stages, and the gardener's always thinking about the next stages. And the next stages is starting to plan for fall. Now, that orange echinacea that I saw at Home Depot, I really should have picked that up, because that would have been beautiful to add into this garden. And I could have added some here and there now that I've cut this passion flower back. So I guess whenever you see a really beautiful plant that you like and want to add to your garden, I guess you should just go ahead and get it. I guess I should have just went ahead and got it. Now this blanket flower, look at that thing. It has bloomed profusely all summer, and it has been beautiful, and I have really enjoyed it. It's been like a little cheerleader out here in my garden. It's been like a little pom-pom. Whenever I come out here to visit the garden, it's just cheering, and it's just bright and beautiful, and it's just cheering me into the garden, and I love it. I've really enjoyed it. What a beautiful addition, and what a beautiful place for it. I'm glad that I put it there. Now this tomato plant that came up in the flower pot that I pulled up and put here in this pot, it's still in this pot. I've got to get it in the backyard so Donald can add it to the garden. And probably it will produce before it gets too cold. And it's time for me to get out here and harvest these Queen Anne's lace seeds of this beautiful flower that I enjoyed so much this year. So I am out here doing a little bit of cutting back for sure, and starting to think and plan the fall garden. And this is just the middle garden this big stack of passion flower, and it'll probably be about that much again when I get over here and do the other half. So I'm working in sections. I've done the left side, and I'll have to get over here and do the right hand side of the middle garden working in my time constraints. And then after that, I'll have to come over here and work on this garden. Because while I'm working here in the middle one, this one's just growing like crazy. And there's a lot of things that need to be trimmed back and cut back, straightened up and took care of here in this side garden, in the left-hand garden. And that's why I haven't got to the two outer gardens that are near the road. The one on the right-hand side and the one here on the left-hand side. Look at this beautiful crepe myrtle that's growing here at the corner of the driveway. Now it puts off a lot of mess. There's a lot of droppings off of these blooms that's right here all over the driveway, and Donald has to get out here and blow it off, and he has to pressure wash this part of the driveway to keep all this mess cleaned up. But I'm telling you, those blooms are worth it. They are beautiful. And it is just loaded. And it's a whole big beautiful tree of these blooms. And across the street, you see those two little crepe myrtles. We were able to plant those off of this parent crepe myrtle that I have right here. This is a friend of ours, the neighbor's houses, and we gave one of the little plants, crepe myrtle plants that we had rooted in a pot to them. They put it on the side of their driveway. And Donald and I, when we owned the house across the street, we bought it thinking our son might want to move into it, one of our sons, but that didn't work out, so we sold that. But when we did have that house, we planted that little crepe myrtle that came from this crepe myrtle that's here in our driveway, or beside the driveway here. And what I do is just go to the base. Right here's one now. And this little plant right here, that's a tiny little crepe myrtle. If you dig that up and put it in a pot, if I dig that up and put it in a pot, I'll have another crepe myrtle. And I have one right here under this elephant tree. A little elephant plant that I've got that's in a pot. This right here, and it's about 2 years old. It's been in that pot for about 2 years. So I have another one either to give as a gift or to find somewhere to put on the property. That's why I didn't buy crepe myrtle when I was looking there at Home Depot. Even though they were beautiful, I knew that I didn't have a place to put it. I know that it was a different variety of what I had, and that it would have been beautiful somewhere in this yard. But to be quite honest, I'm running out of space. So I have to be really, really choosy. I have to be really particular about what I choose to add to the garden now at this stage, because there's not a lot of room to add a lot to this garden anymore. I'm just working with what I have and maybe having to take some things out. Now this crepe myrtle, there was a crabapple tree right here beside of it. And that crabapple tree came from Donald's home place. It came from his mother's house, and it's been there for quite a while. It's not a pretty crabapple. There are some beautiful blooming crabapples that are wonderful for canning. This little crabapple's just as plain as it can be. So he's slowly taking that one down. He's going to take that tree down. Well, it's caused this crabapple to grow, this crepe myrtle to grow one-sided, so it's all on the left-hand side. But once he takes this crabapple down and cuts this crepe myrtle back, it'll come back and it'll start growing evenly the way that it should, and there won't be as much hanging over the driveway here, making a mess. It should have more of an upright habit, and more of it should be growing where it needs to be growing. But there is no perfect world, and there is no perfect gardening. So this is where I'm at right now today out here in the garden. And I'm still trimming back this passion flower. That'll be the task that I'll be doing until I get this completed. And that's where we're at right now. Well, I've had to come in. It's time to come in and start in on some house chores. I won't be able to get that much gardening done today, but hopefully I can work on it this evening and maybe in the morning, and I'll get that completed. And when I do, I'll share that with you on a garden update. I'll show you where I've cleaned out all of that passion flower and how the gardens are faring. But I've got to get in here and get some canning and some other things done that's inside today. I thank you for joining me today. Thank you for watching the video. I hope it gave you some encouragement. I hope it gave you some ideas and advice, and I hope that you have some for me if you do on growing this passion flower, how I can keep it in my garden, my small city garden on 1/4 of an acre. I'm trying to grow a lot of stuff on it. I have a lot of stuff on it. But if you've got any advice on how to keep that thing tamed, I'd certainly be open to accepting that. Thank you today for joining me, and like always, until next time.